Yo, family. What's good? Welcome back again to another daily live stream, and I'm sure you are perfectly aware of the current position we are in. We have just seen another significant liquidation with markets across the board seeing a very, very big pullback. Gold, only 2 days ago, gold was at 5,000. 5,000 for gold. And in a span of just 2 days, gold made a rally, a surge, a blow off top to 5.6, which is unheard of, absolutely insane stuff. Of course, now, after that blow off top, we're seeing a bit of a pullback, and that is impacting many nations who have significant gold reserves. Silver, similar story, a bit of a rally, going to around 121 before a bit of a pullback right now. But of course, while important, our main focus is on the crypto market. Bitcoin. As we have spoke about, as you've been tuning into these streams every single day, if you're a part of the VIP, you'd even know why we are seeing what's happening right now. We have just seen Bitcoin go from roughly $89,000, $90,000 and a massive sharp pullback, blowing through the support zone here, blowing through 88k, blowing through 86k, and now touching this bottom support band of $84,000. It's down 5.67% right now on the daily time frame. Ethereum down 6.73% on the daily time frame. Casper down 4%. I mentioned in yesterday's stream that I'd opened a short trade on Casper. I'm bullish on Casper. It's not a bad thing to open a short trade. I'm just seeing it as an opportunity to make gains on Casper's current price action and then fill up more on Casper when I think the time is right. I put a short trade on Casper right now, and we can see that is evidently playing out relatively well. My take profit is in and around 0.035. We'll see whether that fills in or not over the coming days. But look at the market. Casper's down 4%, Quant's 5 and 6%, AVAX 8%, Omdu 9%, Canton's up 11%. And I guess a bit of alpha for you watching now, Canton is one of the picks I have put in my VIP. It's already doing very well. It's basically a blow off top right now, so at your own risk, get in, should you choose to. Of course, not financial advice. But Canton done very, very well. We've got a whole deep dive playbook documentation on Canton and what it is, which is a proof of shareholder. Weird term, I know, but you can find out more in the VIP. But Canton's doing very well. Otherwise, everything is just capitulating across the board right now. So we're going to talk about it, as we do. Talk about what's happened. I thought I was looking a little bit blurry. Where are my glasses? Here they are. We're going to talk about what's happened. Why are the markets coming back so aggressively? It's a very easy answer, believe it or not. We'll talk about it. And then we'll go through the recent updates as well. Regarding Casper, of course, mainly, but general crypto as well. So to start off with, if you look at the market, hopefully you can look and see something stand out to you all. And that would be oil. Currently now valued at 65 per barrel. Come back a little bit, but went up. That is one key indicator to let us know what the current investor sentiment is right now. Why would oil go up? And I'll tell you why. Geopolitical tensions, the worries of war, as always. And that's why you're seeing FUD in the market. That's why the markets are coming back so aggressively right now. So let's go a little bit of a recap of what the last 2 days have showed us and what the next few days will show us as well, and get a perception, a better understanding of how the markets are going to function going forward, which, to reiterate, you have been warned. Throughout this whole week, I had, not to toot my own horn, because it's not the premise of this, but I had predicted this was going to happen, and it has unfolded in the way that we spoke about. So to start off with, Jerome Powell. We spoke about it yesterday, his FOMC meeting, his speech where he decided to not cut interest rates, kind of a nothing burger, nothing coming from it, and therefore the stipulation that Jerome Powell may not issue any more rate cuts for the remainder of his time as Fed chair, which is not good to see. Now, investors didn't really react too much off that, but they react to Trump, right? Now, we're going to quickly flash some key headlines and then go through it in a bit more detail. So, Trump not happy at Powell, shock there. Next, because of that, Trump also said he's going to announce the new Fed chair next week. A little bit of reassuring news, I'm sure. Fine, great. Then, to continue on that front, the Senate committee. The committee has now just passed its portion of the Clarity Act out of the committee at a voting of 12 to 11, which is also reassuring news, although no Dems voted in favour, which I'm not surprised by. It's not ideal, but the good news is at least it's passed out of the committee now. That's good, but investors should be aware, you watching should be aware there's a lot more left to go. The committee has filed its official report and the bill lands on Senate legislative calendar. Then Majority Leader Tunes decides when to bring it to the floor. If there's a unanimous consent agreement, debate moves fast with set limits on amendments and timing. If not, we're looking for a motion to proceed which can get filibustered. And then it continues going on and on and on. Potential for stalling. You need 60 votes, a bipartisan matter, to pass it through the Senate. And then you got another round of voting. And then you finally can bring it back to the point where Senate has now a version focused on the CFTC and the digital commodities. Goes all the way back around a few more times. Then it comes to Trump's desk where he signs it into law. So while we have got a positive step in the right direction, will this bill be passed before we get midterms? Chances are slim, because the midterms conclude in November, but the proceedings start in March. So that means we've still got a long way to go until March. We've still got a month or so. But can we get this all done in that time? Seems a bit of a tall task in normal circumstances, but then the Senate had killed the bill to keep the government open. The voting was 46 to 54. Dems tied it to DHS funding, the ICE funding, and some Republicans also voted no too, interestingly. So some Republicans also do not screw with, do not favour the DHS funding bill. They don't like the fact that ICE is getting so much funding and the border control. That's the main reasoning for not pushing this down as well. So this all is a continual snowball effect that's growing faster and faster and faster, putting us into the situation we're in right now. While the market has seen such a big pullback today, we've got hit and buy. I wouldn't even say a bazooka of bad news. We had some good news as well. But it's like, to put it into analogy terms, you're in no man's land on a war front, you're taking fire, and you've been hit by multiple rounds. You've got some bandages that you've been able to patch up the wounds, but you've been hit by more rounds than you have the bandages to stop them. That's basically what's happened right now. We have the good news of a new Fed chair being announced next week. That's great. We love to hear that we'll get a new Fed chair soon. We've got the bill passing through the committee, only just but still passing through. That's great. But we've got a long way to go still. Trump's not happy at Powell. And then the government is likely, highly likely to be shutting down tomorrow. And that also has knock-on effects to this bill, because if the government is shut down, there will be little to no negotiations on this bill for the market structure, meaning that you'll see little to nothing happening until the shutdown ends. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it's equally a month long, because Dems are not going to budge on the DHS funding, and similarly, Republicans don't want to do so much either right now from the looks of things, although there does seem to be some Republicans who don't agree. And that therefore means when the midterms start in March, they're going to be focusing on the elections and the campaigning. They're not going to focus on this market structure bill. So you will not see this passed, at least my personal belief right now, is unlikely to see it passed this summer. Now, people are not happy about that, understandably, and there are many saying in the situation that the Dems win the midterms, or Trump loses the midterms, I should say, and therefore the Dems take control of the House. Many believe that therefore you will not see this Clarity Act passed until 2029 or so. Don't get me wrong, there'll definitely be a lot more pushback, and it'll definitely take a lot longer to push forward. But one thing that our information has showed us time and time again, is that crypto is no longer an issue that can be ignored. So despite the fact that Dems are not seemingly as willing to participate in crypto, they're more cautious, if you want to put it that way. They understand they cannot ignore it and not finalize a Clarity Act bill that will support the innovation of crypto in America. They know that. They know America will fall massively far behind if they do that. So it would be unideal for the Dems to take control of the House, stagnating the progression of the Clarity Act, but it wouldn't stop it for that long, in my belief. But we could debate about that and talk about it as time goes on. And then we also got these updates here, documentation that I would normally show to my VIP community, which I'm going to be showcasing. Apologies for that. Documentation I normally show to my VIP community that I'm going to be showcasing on stream publicly right now as well. Some more insight into other analysts, namely institutional analysts, or those who are trusted as such, in regards to what's happening in the market right now. We'll get to that in a moment as well. And then we've got some nice Casper updates at least. Some reassuring stuff that we should take into account and be happy about. So, that being said, family, welcome back again. I know things aren't looking great for us, but you know my saying, don't be emotional, be logical. We'll talk about it. You get the understanding you need to get, and you would get more understanding and forewarning in the VIP. So that's still why I'll continue to preach that. And then we'll talk about what's happening next. Blaze was here first, brother. Welcome back. Hope you're doing very, very well. It's Red Jade. Time to offload some filthy fiat. Yeah, I mean, as the famous saying from the Rothschild stated, the time to play in the blood in the water. Right now, there's a lot of blood in the water for the 1000th time. In my personal belief right now, and it's not to drive FUD. It's to drive the realism of the situation we're in right now and the understanding of how the markets are behaving. I think we see more downside still. The government shutdown will probably be a key driver for that. In the situation we get, further elevated conflict between US and Iran for the 1,000,000th time, which is seemingly growing right now. That's why oil is rallying. That'll cause more headwinds. Of course, do your own research. Listen to what I'm telling you. Take it into account and use that as another foundation to do your own research and then invest at your own discretion. And you can learn more in the VIP. We got some short trades going. Chartflows put some in. Lambda put some in. I'm a part of some as well. And we are currently making money off this market because we knew it was coming. We had foretold this. I mentioned this publicly as well, but we had foretold this a lot more in advance. So my community have been very well aware of the VIP. So you can end up profiting from this current bloodbath, if you will. Shoo to you too. Shoo to you too, Kryptoni, bro. Hope you're doing very well, my man. Good evening, Bet, my man. Hope you're doing very, very well. LB on the check-in. Sorry, I missed class yesterday. Your XRP statement was on point yesterday. Scam. I mean, I appreciate you still tuning in and rewatching it, LB. You're a legend for that. And yeah, don't get me wrong. I have held XRP. I don't hold any XRP right now. Will I get in again? Maybe. Maybe. And I understand the risks that come with XRP. I'm fully aware of them. The risk with any asset that effectively isn't Bitcoin or Casper, I'm fully aware of them. The centralization issues, I'm not ignorant to that. But understand how money moves. Or at least I like to believe I do. Given the money that I've made in crypto and other means, I understand how money moves. So therefore, because I understand how money moves, I understand that most people don't care about centralization concerns. It just means I've got to make sure I'm willing to tolerate the risk to reward nature, put in a sizable amount that I'm willing to lose, and then get in before it's too late, which is always hard to try and judge, of course. But yes, ultimately speaking, based on the research that I have done, I've seen a lot of partnership that XRP has, Ripple has, Bank of America, Bank of Canada, Bank of England, all these other major institutional financial players, yada, yada, yada. And they're not incorrect except for the fact that the partnership is not as black and white as one would perceive. It's like me saying, what example could I give? I don't even know. But it's like me saying, no, okay, I'm not going to give an example because I can't think of one right now, but effectively, the partnership XRP has comes along the lines of the fact that XRP, Ripple would give XRP to these institutions so they can play around and use it to test it out with, because they have a lot in their escrow and their reserves, and that would correlate to a partnership because they're using XRP. Bank of America have used XRP because they were given XRP to use. Does it mean they're bullish on XRP? I don't know. I don't work for Bank of America. But either way, XRP doing well for me is still an inevitability. I think it will. So I may get into XRP again. It's not currently in my playbook. I haven't said I'm going to. I don't particularly care for XRP. I have a lot of other assets that I put in my playbooks in my portfolio, or at least to eventually buy in portfolio that I posted to my VIPs that we're looking at. XRP is not in that, but it's one of the big caps, so I might hedge a little bit in. But right now, markets are red. I think we've got more pullback. I'm not concerned. I'm patiently waiting. Kryptoni saying garbage throws a stock in regards to CC, aka Canton Network. And I mean, effectively, I guess, yeah. I get you could argue it's a stock. you probably have done research into Canton already, and don't get me wrong, yes, Canton is definitely not Casper, so comparatively, as I know you are very much Kryptonian, anything that's not Casper is garbage, because it is. I would care to have some elements of agreement with that there. But Canton has got a lot of architecture that's seemingly being leveraged a lot by banks right now. Got some huge partnerships, which you can look up for yourself to fact check it, but we're talking the DFCC. I might have butchered that. The clearinghouses. Let me double check that, because I feel like I've butchered that, and I feel. Do I mean DFCC? Yes, I meant DFCC. DFCC. They've got partnerships to like some Microsoft and some aspects as well, and etc. And they have got a lot of institutional players leveraging it. I'll be honest, Canton's price right now is purely an institutionally driven one. That might fall off later on. There are risks with it being so institutionally pushed, which you would be able to find out more through your own research, or have a very neat place to find it all out in the VIP, which at the very least you could join the free trial, check it out, learn everything that's in there, and then decide you want to stay on longer or not, because there's a lot of stuff going on in there right now that we're trying to keep everyone updated with current market dynamics. But yeah, I mean, it's not Casper, right? But it's doing well. I haven't decided to top blast this, of course. I think a pullback is potentially on the cards, and then I'll decide if I want to hedge in or not. Institution will use Casper to move their stable coins. I sure hope so. I sure hope so. I don't see why not, especially given what the KRI are doing. And yeah, I have tried to get a bit closer to my mic. I apologize for being so distant. I just felt too relaxed, I guess, given the market dynamics. Have you read new sudden information? I have got some of these posts here, which I'll go through briefly later on in the stream. But it's interesting stuff, seeing that Casper's continuously building and at an accelerated pace as well. Good evening, Falco brother. You're doing very, very well. Went through the dumb and ham phase. What sort of hands do we have right now? Bloody. No. How do I perceive this market? Of course, it's not financial advice. I have to keep reiterating this. I still very much believe right now we're on the 4-year cycle extension theory. I know it seems a bit weird now. We saw a peak in Q4 2025 in October, and now we're going through a pullback. We're currently down about 30-ish percent, 33% from all-time highs. That's not enough to consider it being a bear market right now. People are saying we might be going into one, and don't get me wrong, I think we do have some hard times ahead of us. I think we do. But my stance still remains the same because of the impact and nature of the midterms and the new Fed chair changing in May, June this year. It's a common misconception that I feel like everyone's still not fully grasping. If Trump loses the midterms, the Dems can take control of the House, and then for the remainder of Trump's term, he'll be filed with many impeachments and stuff. The Dems are going to try and remove him in any way, shape, or form. Point being is Trump, whatever power he has right now, gets significantly lesser should he lose the midterms. The only way at this current point in time he can win these midterms is to make those who have the power to change that feel like they're rich. Namely, pump the markets. New Fed chair comes in, lowers interest rates to 1% like Trump wants, prints a lot of money, risk on, goes in full force, markets go sky high, he wins the midterms, and then he gets 2 more years of doing whatever the hell he wants. That will follow by a major crash that's, simple, like law of mathematics and markets, I guess. A massive amount of pumping of money, inflation will cause a massive crash, of course, but it means that we can leverage the current market conditions when that pump comes through. So as it stands right now, I'm given all the AI trends, all the stuff that I'm reading through in the VIP, posting documentation in there as well. I do think we still have got a big year. Give me a sec. Got my laptop open, it keeps making notification sounds out loud. I apologize for that. At least I believe it was my laptop. But yes, I'm under the inception right now that we'll see some probably more tough times, but then coming in around Jerome Powell's term ending and given around the midterms and Trump wanting to win it and all the other catalysts that we'll be talking about and that I've given forewarning to in this stream and in a lot more timely manners to my VIPs. That's why we are prepared for what's happening right now and the further pullbacks. The year will still be fine. We actually saw reports coming out yesterday that I posted to the VIP coming from, I believe it was Meta and also with Tesla, where both have made significant reports that basically hinted at AI continuing to accelerate. So that's why we're still looking at AI. That's why we posted an AI playbook earlier this month. And we spoke about it even earlier, assets that we think are going to do very, very well when the market dynamics shift to risk on, and then crypto AIs will boom. Tau, Render, Virtuals, and Power, and other ones that I think also have a very good shot. But of course, we'll talk about that more. Wait, where has Mr. Miles been? We haven't bullied you in a while. I mean, you're welcome to do it even now, Cryptody. I'm not going to stop you. As long as you do it within reason, you don't hurt my ego. Mr. Miles, he actually sent a message in the free Discord community a little while back, just saying he's going through quite a lot right now, family-wise. So, you know, my best wishes go out to him if you're watching on playback, if he has the time to. He also bought a new car that's a manual. He's trying to learn how to drive manual again, which it's not always easy. You always learn through automatic. Driving manual is definitely never an easy task. I can attest to that. I drive manual. Actually, no, tell a lie, I drive automatic now, but I interchange between manual vehicles from time to time to keep up with the skills, and also when I need to. Like, sometimes I'll drive a van for other work that I do. That's a little helping hand stuff I do for mates. And that's manual, but yeah, he's just been busy. I'm sure he'll be back, and when he is, you could both bully me to your heart's content, and I will get fluttered more and more and more when I'm trying to read out a comment and then get caught out because actually it was a joke comment the whole time. I mean, really, what is the difference there? Proof of shareholder stake means the same thing. You're putting your value at stake. Same with the share. The same incentives for big players to just farm. Yeah, fair point. Okay, well, I am going to give a little bit of insight then in regards to how they categorize it. Of course, you can do your own research on that, or again, what I'm going to be putting up right now comes straight from my playbook, by the way. From my spot investments in the reward asset section of the playbook. I'm just going to read it off screen here so I'm not leaking all the information that I give to my VIPs. But from Canton here, Canton is most definitely the most corporate blockchain in this space, but it's not like Solana or Ethereum, which went public first. Canton was specifically built for seemingly privacy focus. One thing though, interestingly, don't get me wrong, Canton looks infinite supply, all the stuff that makes it look a bit dodgy, and you're not incorrect to think that. Where is it? There. But funny enough, Canton was fair launch. I've done extensive research into that because I don't believe it, but it was. Canton was fair launch. No pre-mine, no ICO, no pre-allocation. But yeah, it's not proof of stake. It appears as proof of stake. But there are differences, and why it's therefore called proof of stakeholder, because it's only the actual stakeholders who can validate the specific transaction. There's no single ledger that everyone copies. Instead, the ledger is composed of multiple private subnets. That's why it's also institutionally focused, seemingly. So and the validation comes from the likes of, if Goldman Sachs was to trade with BNP Paribas, only then those validates the transaction logic. The rest of the network, it never sees the transaction happening. So the reason why Canton's doing very, very well, because it's institutionally focused and also has privacy elements to it. Does it make it trustworthy? Probably not. But it's doing well, and I think it'll do a lot better. And it's being driven by institutions right now. They've got 200 plus partnerships. Goldman Sachs, BNY Mellon, Deloitte, Microsoft, DTCC, etc., etc., etc. And while they have got a plan to release 100 billion tokens in the next 10 years or so, it is an infinite supply coded in. I know what you're saying already, Cryptony. It's not proof of work, therefore, it's no matter what proof of stakes, POS, they're always infinite supply, despite it might say it and might be capped out. But this one actually got it coded into where they plan to release 100 billion in 10 years, but it is coded in to be infinite supply. But yeah, I mean, the concerns around Canton are just about the institutions got there first. That's why it's doing well. But the way that it's also been set up is that when it comes to rewards and fees, right now institutions and builders, I think, get similar amounts. But then over time, institutions get less rewards and builders get more rewards. And then you get the people who are basically staking it, the standard validators who won't get nearly as much. But Yeah, that's the. I mean, it sounds very much like proof of stake, and it is to an extent. There are proof of stake elements in it, but it's got slight differences. And because it's been introduced driven, that's why it's doing well. Of course, you do your own research on that, and to reiterate once more, you can find out more on the VIP, where you'll get a much more in-depth rundown. I mean, to give a quick flash of it, like, well, okay, like whole rundown there, documentation, which has the negative rumors, my personal ROI for what I see in it right now, tokenomics, partnerships, and just a little bit about it as well, with of course links included, because I don't want you to just think, trust me, bro. That's never, this channel has never been a case of trust me, bro. I've tried my very hardest to build trust in this community, and trust me, bro, is the worst thing ever. So I provide sources to the information so you can see it as well. But of course, it's not for everybody. There are risks to it. Of course, do your own research. I'm not in it right now. Some people, if I would have, you know, if you got into it down here, you're laughing, of course. I think it can still rally from here, but I think a pullback's also potentially on the cards. I'll probably put a little bit aside for it, just considering that it's got some institutional focus right now. And we'll see likely that pivot out when better infrastructure comes out that's actually more trustworthy, hopefully, therefore, Casper. Good evening, Lau, bro, and you too, Grezza, and you too, Kryptoni. Smash the like button, indeed. Blah, 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 buzzword, it's not crypto. Yeah, again, I'm not disagreeing with you, Kryptoni. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just explaining what it is being categorized as, the information about it, and it's up for you to make the verdict for yourself. You know, it's not for everybody. Definitely not Casper, that's for sure. What about Quant? Quant, I also got that in my playbook as well. Another asset, which Quant is one that I am somewhat bullish on, but my main reasoning for that is because it's a hedge for the CBDC era. United States don't want CBDCs right now, but Europe does, England does, or I should say UK even. Regions around the world, I'm sure China might be looking into that as well, Japan, yada, yada, yada. I don't like the idea of CBDCs, but if they're bringing them out, and Quant right now is quite evident the front run of CBDCs, then it's a hedge for that. So that's one also that I'm looking into. There are many more assets as well. You can find all the information about it, the deep dive, the documentation, the history about it, and then that gives you a foundation to go off, and you can continue doing active research on it and look through as well. That's actually a big document that came up recently from Quant in regards to Japan as well, which is quite significant, which my VIPs know about. But yeah, I think Quant's one that could also do well when the tides turn. If they have a lot of longevity, we'll have to wait and see. Don't get me wrong, in the grand scheme of things, I still believe Casper can very much take over everything. It has the infrastructure to do so. I don't see why it can't, but when you've got Quant, XRP, Canton, all the other ones that are currently front running it, Casper's got to catch up still. It's the hedge to then cycle the liquidity back into Casper from my perception. But that's my own risk, my own investment strategy. You make your own, do your own research, learn more on the VIP to help create your own trading strategies and investment strategies. Get ahead of the game. You would be making short trades right now if you're part of the VIP, that's for sure. Making money right now. We've made quite a lot so far. Hopefully we're posting some P&Ls tomorrow, the day afterwards, seeing where the market goes from here. I think you might see Bitcoin hold a little bit at this level, considering that, you know, this for me is also pricing in the government shutdown happening soon. So you may not see a bit of pullback just yet, but it depends. It depends. There's still a lot that could take shape. If we get this happening, then maybe it goes further down. Gold up 24% already in January. Insane stuff. Trump has now urged Iran to negotiate a nuclear deal. That's why you're seeing oil going up. That is a cause for concern. I'm not saying Iran's at fault. I'm not saying Trump's at fault. That's not what I'm saying. So don't get that twisted, please. I cannot be asked for that. I'm just simply saying that these are deemed as geopolitical tensions. And what I've been saying for the last however many weeks now, you're probably bored of me saying it. Markets are not being driven by macro. They don't care about Fed Chair Jerome Powell. They care about Trump and whatever next announcement he makes, be it tariffs, be it what's happening in America regarding Dems versus Republicans, regarding ICE, regarding geopolitical tension with Iran, with Russia, with China, with Europe. These things investors don't like it. they don't like it, you know. That's the long and short of it. If you've got a problem with that, then you've got a problem with everybody. But investors don't like that. No matter what political affiliation you have, they don't like that. You can see here, oil and dollar surges as Iran attack fears grow. Expectations of a US move against Iran have risen dramatically, prompting a rush to the dollar and surge for oil, says Chris Bucham, Chief Market Analysis at investing and trading platform IG. You can see oil's rallied already a bit today. You know, it was hovering nicely in and around 60 not that long ago, and now it's gone quite up significantly in the last 3 days. And then you can look at the DYX dollar index, seeing not moving too much. It had a bit of a sprout and then come back down, but even then, it stopped its pullback. Although dollar's still showing a lot of weakness right now, and I think that's going to continue, in all honesty. But yes, these things are not good. Shell rocketing higher, adding 15 points to the FTSE 100 as strikes on Iran are expected now. Which, I don't need to go into why it's a bad thing or why it's a bad thing for the markets. We should understand that. So this is the long and short of it. To then make a general recap before we get to the Casper news that I'm sure you've been waiting for. Jerome Powell, Trump's not happy with him, give a whole typical message here about we need low interest rates, we're getting screwed out, Jerome Powell's too late, get him out, yada, yada, yada. Followed by him then saying he's going to announce the new Fed chair next week. He's not going to take over next week unless the DOJ can find a credible or evidence or cause to remove Jerome Powell, which we'll see. I don't know if they can. We'll see. But he's going to announce a new Fed chair. That will give a little bit of relief, having the actual clarity there. But he won't take over till May, till Jerome Powell stepped down. Then you got the bill being passed through the committee, which is great, but you still got a long way to go. And then you got the Senate have killed the bill to keep the government open. It's going to likely stay that way while markets come back so much today. And then the worries about another outbreak in Iran regarding nuclear, which, I would have, to my understanding, from what we heard from Trump, they'd already dealt with all the nuclear facilities. So I don't know what's happened again. I need to look into it a bit more so, but I thought the United States have already taken care of all the nuclear facilities, so I don't know why. I don't know why it's happening again. I don't know. I have no idea. Well, I'll find out, and you'll be informed. But this is of course not good news. That's why markets are doing a lot of red today. We'll see it come back a little bit more so. I think you can see a stabilization potentially. Right now, my prediction, not financial advice, you're going to see either do that or do that, like this area. I don't see too much in regards to a bounce. Best case right now, unless we get some great news that government shutdowns averted, unlikely. You might see it rebound and get rejected at around 86 and come back down again. But otherwise, then for me, highly likely you're going to see trading within this zone. What you want to see what's happening. Ultimately, what's going to also determine that is how Bitcoin acts today. Down 5.6% right now, give or take. Bitcoin is just touching on the top of this level of support here. If Bitcoin ends trading day within the zone here, we'll go down here. If it finds support here, you could see a bit of a bounce tomorrow, depending on the news. And then best case for me right now, unless we see some other developments that are reassuring, you'll see a rebound off here going back down. And then we'll see it goes from there. Off the back of Liberation Day. Do I mean Liberation Day? No, I actually mean the end, if you will, of the massive liquidation event from October 10th all the way down here. You saw an 80k Bitcoin. So that's definitely on the card. I'm going to draw out some zones right now. Of course, do your own research. But I'm just looking at the market right now, what I can see. So I see we could probably see a bit of a level around here. Yeah, I think that's another level here. And that's based on the fact that you saw resistance there, support there, there. That's literally as simple as my TA needs to be. Of course, everyone has their own TAs, moving averages, RSI, all this stuff, and it works for you, great. I use some of them. But for me, my TA can literally be as simple as, let's look at when the market has seen rejection and support. You saw it there. You saw it around here as well on multiple occasions. So I'm inclined to believe that this is going to be a level of support here around the 81.5, and then you could bottom out around just around 80k, give or take. That'll be the next level of support I'm looking at, the zone I'm looking at. And that just means, therefore, that if I'm putting trade orders in for Bitcoin, then that's going to be where I end up putting my stop losses around. Of course, to find out more about that, you see Crypto's done a fantastic job. He even made some videos last year, which are still very relevant, just making the investors there understand and know exactly how to judge market trends, understand the supports and what they mean. He talks about it every single week in our VIP live streams as well, our roundtables, which some of them are on YouTube as well for members. But that's another zone I'm looking at. Draw out another one. Of course, 74k is evidently another one. Otherwise, I could probably argue to see another one. Where could I say? Probably around here as well. Yeah, around here. We saw a lot of this action here. Rebound there. Rebound there. That's another zone. There probably is another one in between that as well, but that would maybe not be as critical as a zone for me. Maybe around here. But yeah, that's currently where I'd be looking at in regards to support zones for Bitcoin on the way down. If we go back to 74k, which is the seemingly peak for that first run up in 24, we're looking at a 40% pullback. That's not ideal. Not ideal at all. Does that mean we're in a bear cycle if we get that far down? If you'd asked me last year, I would have said yes. Right now, I can't say for sure. And the reason why is given the catalysts are going to be coming out this year in the cycle extension theory, you saw 30% of the typical pullback. That's how far you normally see Bitcoin go back before you see a bit of a recovery. You saw it happen Liberation Day. You saw it happen March to the whole election period. You saw it happen even a little run up here as well. I said that's 20%, tell a lie. This one run up here, back in 21. 2021 we did have an anomaly though, where you saw a 55% pullback from March to August before that run up. Would it be egregious to think we're going to see the same again? Given the circumstances, maybe not. You think about it, April time, you see a peak. We're going into midterm starting around March. So you see a form of market top in some aspects. Around that time, you see it come down significantly during the midterms, all the other drama happening. And then you see markets find a foundation going towards Q2 starting. July, August time, you start seeing that recovery. And then you see a blow off top as money starts pumping in. The reason why also crypto has been restricted so much, and another thing that we spoke about with Wolfie that many seem to also forget, the 40 cycle theory is, I never thought was really real. And the reason why I still am holding on to the theory being ended this cycle is because of quantitative tightening and quantitative easing. Every other bull cycle, QT had ended, QE had started, and the cycle then had that run up. The IS7 was expanding, which is here. This time round, QT only ended in December. So that whole 2025 year, meant to be the big run that everyone was expecting for the 4-year cycle, QT hadn't ended yet. So by and large, the Fed was still restricting and contracting the economy. Now they've ended that, and now they're starting to push a little money into the economy again. It's not full-blown QE. That probably won't happen until the new Fed chair comes in. But until we see that, we're going to see some more tough times. Once we see that, markets will start booming. Garbage, ew, nasty was an XRP, dogmatic law, garbage, art and blind, lol. Fair enough. It's not for everybody. And don't get me wrong, I'm not bullish on Canton in regards to I trust the network completely. I see it as a hedge. I could put a little bit in, make some gains, take it out, put it into Casper or whatever I feel like I want to hold at the time. That's literally all it is. I am an investor who wants to make money. I have my safe havens, my strong convictions, and I have the ones that I think can make money in the short term. You know, a lot of people missed Hyperliquid. A lot of people missed Zcash when they had their run-ups. I didn't miss Sui. I missed the bulk of Sui, but I didn't miss all of Sui. I made gains in Sui. Did I like Sui? No. I don't think Sui is that good. But I put money into it and make gains of it because there's money to be made there. That's as simple as it is for me. Welcome back, PG. Been a minute, bro. I made it 1000% on my short on silver. Call the exact top in Camel Finance's comments. Wow. Massive stuff, bro. I am... Not that it sounds wrong me saying that 'cause I'm not a dad, but I'm proud of you. But no, I am. That's great stuff. Evidently, your TA and your gut was on point there. So shout out to you for making that massive gain on that short. Big stuff there. Calling the exact top as well at 121.5. I'm coming back down to 16.3. Massive stuff there. Keep it up, my man. Keep going. Dump for Ants-Man. We're chilling. Just BTD, boys. Amen. Core 83 and Tesla at 422. Yeah, I mean, some stocks right now are definitely worth it. I think Tesla now, they made a big announcement about pivoting their space program. I think elements of that into AI robotics. So that's going to do well for them as well, with AI being such a big factor. Just deviated the bottom of 84k range. This is the reversal if one comes. Otherwise, prepare to sink to 69 as there's zero volume at the 70s. I mean, yes, except for the fact that if we do lose critical support zones, the volume will start coming in. There's no volume. I haven't looked into that, but there's no volume at the 70s. If we lose critical support, the volume will start coming in to try and keep it up. You know, will it hold enough? We'll have to wait and see. But do we see a reversal here? I want to hope so, but right now I'm very 50-50. As I highlighted, I think there's a possibility for a reversal here, but I don't think it's going to be strong enough to see any significant pump because of all the incoming catalysts. Market structure is going to get delayed. Government shutdowns are going to happen in the next few days, 2 days. Not good. They're going to see potential strike on Iran again. That's not going to be good for the markets. You know, there's so many developments that are going to be coming out in the next few days that's going to cause more headwinds than it is going to cause tailwinds. The only tailwinds I see right now is a new Fed chair being announced, not even going to be pushed into office, just announced. And the passing of this bill, but it's just, yeah, it's not enough. I think we can see a period. I mean, ultimately, we do know that crypto is going to take over. Like that for us is very evident based on the information and research that we've done, based on the documentation that I posted even yesterday. PwC, for example, talking about the big turning point happening this year in 2026. So I'm not worried. I'm just seeing more DCA opportunities, basically. But yeah, it's tough stuff to looking ahead. It's great for me, though. Great for us as to DCA in my belief. Of course, do your own research. You've been warned. You can find out more. Highly recommend checking out the VIP. You can learn a lot more in there. People who have been a part of it have very much appreciated the work going on in there as well. Still growing the group right now, but people who've been there very much enjoyed it. There is, we do private live streams, educational live streams every single week with institutional analysis. We got that. We got trade alerts. We got VIP documentation that gets posted in there frequently, daily or every other day. Analysis like this stuff here that we spoke about on stream, we get post those quite frequently as well. And much more going on there as well. Alongside the playbooks, the other assets we're looking into besides just Casper as well, which we perceive could do very well. Some have already done very well. So you can find out more in the VIP. Of course, links are below in the description. There are 7-day free trials. And equally, signing through BYDFI, our affiliate exchange. Find out information about that in the free Discord server. You can get a 1-month free trial on top of the 7-day free trial. So highly recommend checking that out. Leverage the free trials while they're there and learn how to analyze the markets and get ahead of the markets and then make money before it happens. Jay, what's your thoughts on paying tax on unrealized profits? Don't like the idea of it, but I mean, no one wants to pay tax on. No one wants to pay tax in general. Let's be real. For the most part, no one wants to pay taxes, but paying taxes on unrealized profits would be rubbish in the sense of the fact that you've got the big players, the billionaires and yada, who've already made their significant income from investing and not paying taxes on unrealized profits. Like Elon Musk, for example, he bought Twitter, now X, by leveraging out his Tesla shares. He didn't take money out, because if he took money out to buy Twitter, he'd have to pay taxes on that. So he didn't pay any taxes. He just leveraged the stocks and bought it for that. That's how it works. That's how the rich continue to make money. They don't ever take profit. They just keep it in there and they cycle it around. That's all it is. So my thoughts on it is it sucks. But I think the reason why I say it sucks is because most of the time the taxes don't really go towards an actual good cause. You can argue that pretty much in any government you look at right now, the taxes are always utilized. They're never utilized enough, and it's also partly because those who have the money, who are rich, they don't pay taxes. So where the significant amount of money comes from, and the money that's made doesn't get pushed back into the economy ever. So there's not enough taxes, not enough money in the economy, causing, the normies, the people, the working class to struggle more every single year. I think if that was a law that came in and everyone abided to that, and it was tight, sealed, there was no workaround, then sure, fine. As long as it makes every single economy better. Like, I've been to Japan, for example. While their currency is dwindling significantly right now, there's so much going on in Japan that does not happen in the UK. I can't speak for America, but for example, one thing that I think should just be simple is the trains. I don't know how the subways are in America, although I've not heard great things, but I can speak for the UK. They're terrible in the UK. TfL hate them. In Japan, trains are always on time. They're frequent, they're quick, everything's clean. That should be a common thing. I don't understand why it's so hard, but because the money's going to the right places, at least in my perception. And it's not me trying to big up Japan by any means. I'm just saying those are things that people should have. I don't see why it's so hard for that. Bit of a tangent in that regard. But yeah, I mean, in the instance of, like, for example, I guess us being Casper holder, I see, actually, yeah, you said it here, yeah. For people who are holding, for example, Casper long periods of time, they have to sell every year to part of their holdings, unfortunately. Yeah, that's the downside of it. So there's arguments for and against it. Of course, from the investor perspective, you don't want to do that because you want to continue making money for yourself. But I guess from the kind of humane part and the kind of betterment of people part, you're like, that's fine, because if you do that, then, and the taxes are used appropriately, not for ridiculous military defense funding or whatever it may be that they're focusing on, more so than actually their own internal conflicts at the time. Whatever. I mean, it's happening in the UK right now. It's terrible. They don't care. UK Parliament don't care, and I shouldn't be saying that, but hey ho. Yeah, I think the arguments for and against it. Just, yeah, that's my perception of that. Welcome back, Lion L13. So excited for Cheaper Casper. You and me both, my man. And Charlie Kirk forever. Casper Hart. I agree indeed. No reversal. Next stop. $80,000 $400 Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm leaning. That's when I'm 50-50. It can go either way. But when I say reversal, my reversal is not that. My reversal is a bounce. Actually, maybe reversal is the wrong word. I don't see a reversal in Bitcoin right now, personally. Not financial advice. I see a bounce potential, but coming back down to 80k is more so my thesis right now. We got a current tracer up in our community, courtesy of Chart Flows there, who's put a short in for Bitcoin in the anticipation we're going to see more downside, and it's highly likely. We've just gone through all the macro for that and the fundamental for that to explain why it's possible. Now, before we get into, well, actually, we've been talking for 50 minutes just purely chewing the fat. Let's get into some Casper content, because I know that's what you mainly all care about here, besides just the general market updates. So this is the first one. Don't understand it at all, to be honest. Besides that, it's quite significant to see some more developments for Casper here. Ori Newman's made a post here, something called Silver Script. I think it's some layer 1 development. I'll go through the comments right now. Someone asked Grok, explain that to me, and someone just said here, code for layer 1 programmability. Now, I don't know if this person is trustworthy, or he knows what he's talking about. I'm not criticizing him by any means. He's followed by enough of the respectable Casper community members, but people who I trust a lot. I should say that. Instead of that, people who I think are very trustworthy, he's followed by them. So I think he probably does have an idea what he's talking about here. But yeah, so that is the case. Another big development coming for Casper, which is really, really cool. And then we can kind of shift then into this post here from Many Fest. Michael Sutton describes what's happening in R&D right now as a DAG of development efforts. There's multiple things happening right now all at once in Casper, which is huge. Which reminds me of this great post regarding Corney's Law. The open Telegram channel is indeed buzzing, it's awesome, and also pretty fitting for a team building a Powerlight proof of work DAG. You can see the discussions here: Rust, ZK opcodes, testnet 12, governance, TX index, fee mechanism, DAG, native, vprogs, Python SDK. To make a short summary of this, which Michael Sutton said, a nice summary, and to be honest, the most exciting recent development is actually still in stealth mode. Soon. Does TM here mean tomorrow? I don't actually know what TM means in this instance right now. Although I think it might be referring to Silverscript actually. Maybe. So they'll probably provide some more clarity on Silverscript soon enough. Maybe. But either way, something very, very big seemingly going to be released and announced about Casper is going to be huge soon enough, I hope. You got another post here from Codersoft regarding DAG Night that I'll post in my free Discord server. But the summary here is quick attempt to one-line some recent activity across the R&D telegrams. Luke here is creating a neat feature to enhance connectivity between the nodes. Fresh Air shared ideas for a fee mechanism that could incentivize a fair fee market. Pretty big there. DS, now I don't know who DS is meant to refer to here. He's got no Twitter at, so I don't know who it is, I'll be honest. But DS apparently is working on a mechanism to make transaction data easier to fetch. Pretty big stuff. Coder's stuff is working on DAG Night and has started sharing related concepts in a new channel. You got Charlie V here, who's created a Casper Python SDK, which is really cool. Hans Moog is working on vprogs, now in a public GitHub codebase. And Michael Sutton, Alexander, Maxim, and Oi Newman are working on new script opcodes for Covenants and ZK verification. I imagine that's what Silverscript here as well. The Silverscript, therefore, is probably referring to this there, where they're working on new script opcode for Covenants and ZK verification. That's what Silver is there. So that's pretty cool. And they got Ezio Dev and himself, Manifest, are exploring development paths for native tokens on Casper, both script-based tokens implemented as Covenants and ZK tokens, snark-based mini vprog contracts interacted by posting small ZK proofs. And then you've got Jasta here who's making it easy to connect ASIC miners directly to your own Casper node. So you've got a lot of things happening right now all at once, which is fantastic to see. And we do need, and I think that's the thing, I don't necessarily believe that's never been the case for Casper. But the problem is, we don't know. Because not everybody has the time or the intellect to go through the Telegram channels and summarize everything that's happening right now. Trust me, I've tried. I don't always have the intellect to understand the technical expertise of what they're talking about. That's why I miss Shy. I'll be honest, I miss Shy. I saw someone ask it in our blockchain banter on Tuesday about could we see Shy come back. And I know people might still have a sore spot for Shy. I really hope he does in some capacity because his brain, the way, the drama, yeah, we don't like the drama, but his brain, we can't deny he's an intellectual individual. And the way he bridged the technical expertise of Sompolinsky and Sutton to the retail and everyone else, no one's been able to do the same thing since. Not in the same aspect. But we're seeing a lot of stuff happening right now for Casper, which is fantastic, which does therefore mean, in my belief, that with this pullback coming in, with the FUD growing, with further downside possible, and the price will come back with it, when the reversal comes in, the foundation, the infrastructure is what's going to matter. The stronger the foundation, the stronger the infrastructure, the higher that pump will be. And Casper will have the strongest foundation of any crypto in my belief, given what they're building right now, the potential hard forks coming through soon enough as well. Also, the fact that IGRA are making major steps as well here. Their Galleon closed mainnet on Node version 2 is ready for community node operators. So it looks like the closed mainnet is now going to start expanding a little bit to be a bit more open. It's still a closed mainnet, but it's for community node operators now, not just the A-testers and the privately chose people. It'll go from here, then it goes to, I believe from this point forward, then it starts getting ready for the actual public mainnet. So we're very near the end of it, actually. Can we quickly check what the timeline was again? Let me just double check that. But this is a great step for IGRA as well. Looking forward to seeing more about that. Where is it? That's the roadmap. Here. I thought they had an actual timeline of it. Did I not? Here it is. There you go. So we are here. February open mainnet with A testers and TGE. So we have the closed mainnet run by community. So they have done it in January, albeit at the very end of it. So it looks like we maybe be a little bit behind. But we have the closed mainnet run by community operator nodes. That's happening now. Next will be the open mainnet with A testers and TGE. Then also in February, should hopefully be seeing the whitelist mainnet with core DeFi. And then the public mainnet should be released March. So if we follow along this timeline here, I'd expect you probably see the open mainnet of A testers happening in the next 2 weeks or so, and that'll hopefully follow soon after that, maybe early March, and then that'll give a full month to then see how this goes, and then we'll have a public mainnet by end of March, end of first quarter. Which, as to mentioned, as we spoke about yesterday as well, that should be also attributed and followed alongside with stablecoins on IGRA as well, which is great. Great stuff. So that is huge. All information about that is available here, which if it's not already there, I'll be reposting in my free Discord server so you look through it for yourself. And then also another interesting post here, a bit of speculation, but funny enough, Coinbase made a post recently, just a day ago, saying if you have olive oil as an interest on your resume, we want to talk to you. Weird, don't know why they said that, but also funny because considering what KRI have in Olive Chain. Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, are you ready to have a proper sit down and discuss listing Casper? Olive Chain, you know, that's olive oil. So we'll see if that amounts to anything. It's unlikely, truth be told. Although we did hear some interesting stuff from Wolfie regarding Coinbase and their listing proceedings and the other exchanges, which I do plan to make a video covering that tomorrow. It was meant to come out today, didn't have the time. Come out tomorrow, going through basically to summarize it. Wolfie confirmed Binance and OKX can list Casper whenever they want to. They can literally flip a switch and it's fine. They're just not doing it yet. And Coinbase aren't ready yet, but they're simply more professional about it. And when they do the time is right, they'll do it. But Binance and OKX can just flip a switch and they list when they want to. For spot listing, Coinbase is not there yet, but who knows? They could be a first mover in this regard because of their support and what they've been doing so far. But we'll go through it more later on at a moment's notice. As to wrap up, we had seen some movements. The funny 69 from Wallet 1, 69. Wallet 1 accumulated 69 Casper today. Or should I say somebody has sent them 69 Casper for lols, I guess. But otherwise, not too much. You know, you saw 25, almost 26 million Casper going into Gate, 4 million to Mexi, 2 million almost to BitGet, and then outflows, not too much either. But yeah, things are just kind of going as normal. Besides the market correction right now, we're not seeing anything too significant, anything too concerning. We have been warned about this. If you want to be further informed ahead of time, prepare for the markets and get ahead of the game, please, by all means, come check out the VIP. You'd learn a lot more in there as well. But that being said, family, that does now conclude today's Casper Crypto live stream. If you enjoyed today's stream, please do me a favor and leave a like. It helps me out more than you know. Share with your friends and subscribe for more. If you want to learn more, check out the free Discord server. Links are down below. And then the socials being the Twitter and equally the VIP as well. Everything down below in the description. Have a great day, good evening, and good night. Tomorrow will also be an interesting stream, so stay tuned for that. And I'll see you all in the next one.